y'all, spiritual warfare is high right now. It's really high right now. Look, this is a part of the evolution. We have to come online to spiritual warfare is a very real thing. And there's a lot of kickback. There's a lot of kickback that light beings are on the other side of right now, especially those that are in public eye, because they can spread the message more quickly. And so there's a lot of attacks happening at that level. There's also attacks happening in that dream state. And for those of you who are experiencing a ton of attacks on your dream state, there can be several different reasons for this, but one that I want to point out is it's because you are a commander. You have faced spiritual warfare very directly in multidimensional spaces in the galactics, and then you just so happen to be incarnated in human form. And so it kind of is an unfortunate thing that who you are will draw those things toward you because you've had proximity directly to spiritual warfare outside of this earth plane. But I want to remind you that you are so much fucking more powerful. Like, you are so much more powerful, right? Like, that's why this is happening. These attacks are happening to those of us who are powerful, those of us who are occupying a lot of light, those of us who have an immense amount of influence. And, you know, I made a video back in the very beginning of 2021. I said, we got to bubble up. We got to bubble up. It's very important. This is also why so many of us, as our sensitivities are increasing, but it's also, you know, we're going out into spaces that are way less harmonic than the harmonics that we're used to and what we're occupying, that we become very, very sensitive to what's darting around in the field, like people's unowned projections and lower consciousness things and those like lower kind of frequencies, all of the obstructions and misalignments. We're going to be really sensitive to that. And within that, there's actual energetics that are spiritual warfare. So you can be having things that are like really direct attacks, like entity level attacks, right? And entities coming through people that you know attacks. And you could have the attacks that are happening in the dream space, or you could be having this like spiritual warfare that tries to stop you from living out your purpose. And that can be like things that come into your space, like thoughts and ideas that are really fucking weird, which is even patriarchal programming, right? Patriarchal programming is a form of spiritual warfare. But it could also be like true entity shit trying to fucking take you down. And this is the thing. We have to be willing to see that we are in battle, that this is a part of the experience. I think it's great that a lot of people are speaking to it. Like, this is a real thing. Like, y'all also going through this? Because yes, this is a part of the journey. As we know, well, some of us may know, there's a spiral, a cycle that's happening. And we're in that spiral and cycle. And we're getting near where essentially there would be war. Well, we are in it. We've been in it, but it's spiritual warfare. This is World War III, y'all. It looks differently. It doesn't look the same as it used to. We're entering multidimensionality. The multidimensional spaces are being illuminated. So from where this warfare actually comes from is beyond the physical reality. It's beyond those confines. It has always started out here and then come in here. But we haven't had our eyes open to that. We haven't had our minds open to that. We haven't had our extrasensory perceptions and trusting within ourselves what is actually happening. And so now that we're coming more online to ourselves, there are more people who are tuned in multidimensionally. We recognize ourselves as light beings and shadow workers, and whatever you are, right? You're starting to come online to your power. Look, in the realm of spiritual warfare, that's the thing that they don't want, right? Like, our coming onto our power is the thing that wins the war. We've already won it, but we're also in it. So we need to recognize that even though we've already won it, that it is currently still happening. We need to validate it more, to be present to what is, and simultaneously holding ourselves in our power so much that it's like it becomes laughable. Now, I'm not saying that there's very serious. I'm not diminishing other people's experiences. This shit is fucking real. And trust, I know. I'm Monea. I'm Mother of New Earth. Like, I have been on the battlegrounds, like front and center on the battlegrounds. And I am a commander of sorts in the galactics at a very high level. When I'm in these spaces, I'm coming at it from a place of power. Because that's the thing. If they can get into you, it's going to be from a leakage in your power. They're going to be like, oh, I found the weak spot. And this doesn't mean that you don't get to be human. You totally get to be human. But what I'm saying is that when the spiritual warfare amps up, there is a source inside of you that can doing this. It pushes things outside of you. This is a technique that Monea, myself on the battlefield, uses. I will become literally untouchable. That's my power. And other people will be doing other things, and it's like, well, I'm gonna get to the root of it because I can bypass all this bullshit to get to this thing here. Now, I'm not saying that that's always me. I'm like everybody else. I have ups and I have downs, and I have like, oh man, I'm fragile today. Like, like if you touch me, you poke me, I'm gonna feel it. And then other times it's like, no. There's spin, there's backspin. People have been trying to throw stuff into my field all day today because I just said who the fuck I am and what I'm here for, and I let it be known my level of importance and my contribution. I'm just letting it be known my contribution and holding my own power. There's a bunch of people that are getting all in a tizzy about it, and then they want to dump on your space and be like, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not going to follow you. Okay, bye. That's why I posted this. I posted this so you show up and let me know where you're at so I can make sure you do not have access to me. Because you're not in a space to have access to me. You should not have access to me. And that's what I mean. Becoming inaccessible. And again, there's so many layers to this, you guys. Please don't take in what I'm saying and go, like down yourself, shame yourself because you're being spiritually attacked, like you're weak or something, right? Because you're not. You're badass. You're a strong beacon of light. That's why this is happening. But I kind of just wanted to share. While I'm speaking, I'm sharing much more. I'm sharing actually the energetics of what I'm talking about as being a container to hold you inside of warfare. We need this. We need this moving forward because in 2022, the attacks aren't going to get less. They're not going to get less. They're going to get more. And we need to be prepared. And this is why I say we also need to validate our experiences, and we need to be willing to be with actuality. But what is not going to be in service to you is, for example, weaving that back into a state of disempowerment, such as what like the fourth dimensional plane of existence will do. It'll go, oh, they are attacking me and this and that. And what it does is actually gives away power. It starts feeding the infiltration. It starts feeding the thing that's creating the harm. You don't want to feed it. You do not want to feed it. Don't give it your power. You're a very powerful being. That's why it wants to feed and fester off of you. You need to stand in yourself, hold yourself. And then it becomes a point of like, I'm untouchable. And again, I'm not, I just, there's so many caveats to this, you guys. It's like I want to speak to them, but I can't speak to all of them. So yeah, I'm not going to go off on another thread here. But I hope that this has at least been supportive to you in some way. Yeah, the spin, I want to complete that. So, you know, something that's happening for me is it's like, okay, people are trying to throw the things into the portal, and I'm going, oops, spin. So I have energetic mechanisms built in for spiritual warfare. So if someone, for example, tries to send me some black magic, I will be able to identify that someone just did that. And usually I can track it back to where it came from. But it's not going to touch me. It spins around and off me. It gains momentum and impact, and it will hit from the point of origination back. So it'll hit back from where it came from, because the thing is that's not mine. Like you just sent me something and I would have to go, that gets to hit me. And it doesn't, because it's not mine. That's going to spin off of me and back onto you. And you're going to have to deal with the consequences of throwing that at me. I know a lot of you have that built into, but for those of you who don't, know that you can utilize that as a mechanism for protection. Let's ground this a little bit at ground level. This would look like someone who's throwing some kind of bullshit projection into my space, like, you're egotistical, because I'm owning who the fuck I am and my true power and like actuality, right? I don't have any ego motivations here. And so they go, you're egotistical. And then it's like, okay, it doesn't get to infiltrate me. It doesn't get to touch me. It doesn't get to take up space in my psyche. It just goes, goodbye. Like, if I'm dancing with it in any way, I'm literally only amplifying the momentum of it. So you will see me say certain things to certain people who do that dynamic. And what I'm doing is I'm amplifying their projection and I'm sending it back to them. And I'm amplifying it in the light of truth. And going, that's not mine. I'm not going to hold it. What you just dumped in my space, I won't have it. You're going to have to live inside that now. And it's going to hurt. But I didn't do that. You did that. You decided that. This has nothing to do with me except that I'm keeping my space clean. Do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like a don't step into the ring with it where you don't need to. So if you're dealing with spiritual warfare, I want you to know I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm sorry. Like, not in a pity way. I'm sorry because this is some bullshit. You're a beautiful light being. And you're producing so many beautiful things into the world that need to be here, that desperately need to be in the world. That's why the spiritual warfare. You are the antidote. And I want to thank you for that. And I hope that maybe this has provided you either validation or maybe some skills to help me move forward.